In this video we'll show you how we can import an IGES file of a plate with some text on it. So I'm in 3D CAM now, so I'll import the IGES file. Okay, so that's the IGES file, but that's in the wrong orientation, so I need to rotate it round. So to do that, I go into Geometry, Move, Rotate. The item I want to rotate is the IGES solid, and let's do that. First of all, we might need to do this twice. We'll do it in X and Z first, 180 degrees, to get it so that the text is facing upwards in the Z axis. Okay, and we'll probably need to turn it round so that the long part of the file is in the x-axis, so we can highlight that again and do Move, Rotate. Okay, we'll make that say 90 degrees. Okay, so that's got that now and in the correct orientation. So what I need to do now is create a sketch of that top face. So if I move the mouse over the model and right click to pick faces, pick that top face, right click and say make a sketch from the face. Now what that will actually do is it will make a sketch which is the outside shape plus all of the islands. The only thing it won't make a sketch of is those internal parts there of the letters, but we can address those separately. So we've got that as a sketch. So now we need to think about the tools. So if we look at the sort of tools that we've got here, we'd probably need something a bit smaller than 6mm. If you're working in inches, then obviously this would all be imperial measurements. So let's define a smaller tool. And let's have a straightforward end mill, make it 4 diameter. Cutting edge height is 20mm. Okay, so that will probably clear out all of that. So having got that sketch, if we right click and say a new pocketing operation, we can set the step over. Material allowance, if you needed to machine this with a larger cutter to clear it out and then just do a profile operation on each one of the characters, then you'd leave a material allowance on here. The starting place for the pocketing can be the boundary or the center, so the boundary is probably okay. We want to climb mill that, and we could either use zigzag machining or it'll follow the outside shape and then get progressively smaller towards the islands. So you can choose which one of those you want. The tool, you need that. We don't need to define a surface because we're not doing any 3D machining, we're just using the sketches in a 2.5D mode if you like. So we set up the depth that you want to cut. If you needed any step downs, if it's a tough material, then you could set that here. Click OK to accept all the rest of the defaults. Obviously speeds and feeds you need to set as you wouldn't need them. Okay, so that's calculating that tool path now, so that's machined all of that. Okay, so obviously that if you needed to, you could split the sketch down and that would produce multiple sketches such that you could then machine the individual letters if you wanted to leave a finishing allowance on them, for instance. But we'll carry on just picking this face here, right click, make a sketch, and the same here, right click, make a sketch, right click, make a sketch, and right click, make a sketch. So then we've got these other sketches here, so we right click and say pocketing operation. Now it picks up all the defaults that we used on the previous operation, so we don't need to change any of that. Simply click OK. Do the same thing here. Do the same thing here. and then the same thing on this last sketch here. Okay, so that has done the area clearance operation on all of those. As I say, if you needed to use a finishing allowance, then you need to take a copy of that sketch and then split the sketch down into individual items. Take a copy of it so that you've got one sketch which contains the outside and all the inside sketches, and then the copy could be broken down into individual sketches to machine each one individually. So that's how you do that. Then obviously post-process and simulate.